Howdy howdy, Sioux Devil here, and welcome back to our Mortal Empire's legendary Dwarf campaign walkthrough. A relaxing campaign where we're going to paint the map Dwarven blue, take over every settlement, experience every new mechanic there is to experience. We have some fun themed armies where every army is different in a significant way, and we have more on the way. For this episode, I'm actually going to go through my armies one by one, and I'll probably do my settlements, but I won't fight any battles, so if you're looking for some battles, you can just skip to the next episode and this is not your thing. We do have some big battles coming up. I mean, we have Mazdamundi with 2 full stacks coming for Grombrindle and Thorgrimmar. We do have Luan Leoncoeur sitting here in Langui. We just took Leonese, and we have Moussalon. We have another stack here. I think he's rank 2 though. Small army here. We have one more stack here with a little army. I might try and go and see if I can fight them this turn with Thrummed. And we do have Ungram up here, but I might sail him right into the heart of Lizardmen country, because I think if I had one warrior that was going to do that, it would be him. So yeah, let's go start. We'll go up north to start. Taking a look at all of our armies. And the first army I guess I want to look at is Morgus Death Dealer. So this army is what I would consider the cheapest effective army I could put together. They only cost 64.46 per turn. It's going to get a little bit cheaper as I get the last level of mountaineering in there, upkeep minus 15% for ranger units. So right now they're at 6,400 per turn, and obviously if this was early in the game they'd be a lot less. But we have 4 units of miners here, and they're from my armor piercing. They're meant to be in the back line and support the front lines. Our dwarf warriors are there just to hold, and then we have 6 rangers and 2 bolt throwers. And these bolt throwers have been not too bad. And of course in this army, because our rune lords are not really great in melee combat, I've added a 1 Thane just to give support against other heroes, other lords, and this type of thing. And one of the things that makes a rune lord so good is at controlling a inexpensive army is that they can get Axe Lord that gives you melee attack +8 and melee defense +8 for dwarf warriors and miners. And of course they can get tactical acumen, which we're going to get that for our rangers, but that's going to give our rangers 25% missile damage and 20% more ammunition, obstinacy, and all those good things. They don't have Grimnir's Heirs, which helps them manage a more expensive army, but they can get Brass Lunged, which really helps their leadership aura size. What does also make a big difference is this Anvil of Doom, okay? Because it gives you a map-wide Locus of Power, 15% magic resistance for all the troops in your army, which is fantastic. And of course, when we get all the runes, you know, those are all basically buffs to your army, and we will get those. And the Rune of Hearth and Home is the first rune you get, and it's actually quite good because it makes all your troops immune to psychology within 40 meters, and even further if you get Brass Lunged, and that's pretty important for a low-level army. And then of course it's got all the rest of the runes that you would expect. So this is what I would consider my most inexpensive effective army. And you know, Morgus Death Dealer took on Sigvald when he was maybe rank 7 and defeated that army one-on-one. His full chaos stack, you know, and I would say it was close. I'd never felt really under threat, but it was a fight, no doubt, but he won. Then we have, here's what I would consider my inexpensive optimized army for a regular lord. Well, one of the things I've got from Morgus, I should explain this. So Morgus, because... Oh, okay. I don't have this. I have a potion of healing. I actually, for my other lords, I have 1 lord. I've given them a Lichbone Pendant, which is 25% magical resistance, but I also, for example, gave Dwinbar this Hammer of Karak Draws, because he's the only lord, there's no heroes, and this will help mitigate damage coming in when he's fighting against a hero or two or a lord and 2 heroes or something, but it's really quite good. It's 47 seconds of a hex. That's minus 25% weapon damage, minus 44 melee attack. So it's really quite good. But this is what I would consider my optimized cheap army for a regular dwarf lord. Again, we got 4 dwarf warriors with great weapons, so pretty decent armor piercing. 6 regular dwarf warriors. We have 2 thunders in this army. And thunders are really strong. They're excellent, but they have problems with line of sight. And then we have 6 quarrelers. Quarrelers are outstanding, and 1 grudge thrower just to pull. Don't have a lot of artillery in my optimized armies because they're just to pull. And the beauty of this kind of base setup is that if you want to go fight something with a lot more armor, you just take out maybe 2 dwarf warriors, regular dwarf warriors, and replace them with 2 dwarf warriors with great weapons. You could do the same, take 2 quarrelers and replace them with 2 thunders, or you could have as many, I've had it where I've only had 2 dwarf warriors with regular weapons and the rest dwarf warriors with great weapons, and 2 quarrelers and the rest thunders. So it's kind of a flexible army in those terms. And why this is an effective army is because we can get Axe Lord, of course, melee attack and melee defense +8 for your dwarf warriors and miners, but we don't have any miners. Tactician, which is ammunition +20% for quarrelers, thunders, and grudge throwers, and that's precisely what we have in this army. And missile damage +12% for quarrelers, thunders, and grudge throwers. So we're absolutely using our buffs for every single unit in this army. And we have obstinacy, which is vigor loss is reduced, and obstinacy is a funny one. It can be very important for dwarfs if you're in a long battle. If your units get exhausted, they only make use of 65% of their armor, so they're a lot easier to hit. And they only make use of 65% of their melee defense. So dwarf warriors have great melee defense, and if you look, we're at 70 with these guys, but then you take that 70 and you divide and you times it by 0.65, and I don't know what that comes out to be, maybe 50 or something like that. They're a lot easier to hit. So I haven't gone up here to get stand your ground. Stand your ground is excellent, but I don't need anything here. So I focused instead on Route Marcher, and I've got, of course, Immortality, Rune of Grimnir for the missile resistance of 10%. And I'm making Dwinbar himself, because he's the only lord in this army, as robust as I can. So, he's got 78 melee defense. I've given him the Scarred Veteran, 15% more hit points, so he has 56-26. So he'll make use of all his mitigation tools that much more effectively with the extra hit points. He's got Foe Seeker, and I do intend to go get Deadly Onslaught for him, and probably Blade Shield and Woundmaker, just to make him that much more effective in one-on-one situations. And we may end up going down and getting Brass Lunged and Stand Your Ground, or we may end up going and getting something like Purebeard and Iron Will to get our Lightning Strike, and possibly our Inspirational Leader, which is Casualty Replenishment Rate of +15. But if you look at the cost differential in this army, Morghost's army is only 6,400, and Dwinbar's is just over 7,000. And Morghost's will get a little bit cheaper in a moment. So his Rangers are 296 per turn in upkeep. I wonder if it shows down here. If we go down to our other optimized army for our Rune Lord, okay, we have here Kun Hern. What are they? 288. So you can see Kun Hern is rank 40, and he's got the full Mountaineering kit minus 15% upkeep for Rangers, and he's only 6,800. So this is what I would consider, again, very similar to Dwinbar's army, an optimized army for my Rune Lord, in that he has 4 dwarf warriors with great weapons. They are significantly better than miners, I think, and then just has the same dwarf warriors, and instead of having all Rangers, instead of having he has all Rangers, but instead of having 2 Thunders, he has 2 Rangers with great weapons, and instead of having a Grudge Thrower, he has a Cannon. Now, cannons are just straight up more effective than Grudge Throwers in pretty much every situation. They're pound for pound the best Dwarven artillery, I think. But He doesn't really buff them up. He can buff them with Lord of Cranks, but you don't really need that with the regular Rune Lord. In this tree, or this tree where you get Tactical Acumen, you also buff the Grudge Thrower, so it's a little bit more effective. But for Kuhn-Hearn's buffs, I mean, Immune to Psychology, Anvil of Doom, he has Damping to reduce the enemy winds of magic, which is actually pretty strong, I think, if you're fighting against magic. I mean, that's Winds of Magic Power Reserve -9. It's better than nothing. And of course, he has a Master Rune of Negation, 44% damage resistance every 135 seconds for 18 seconds. The Rune of Fury, everyone has a charge bonus of +5 when they're around him. Rune of Parrying, melee defense, +6 for everyone. Rune of Might, weapon strike 6% for everyone. The Rune of Striking, melee attack, +6 for everyone. Of course, the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which is really strong against multiple opponents, particularly if they're ethereal or they have heavy armor. Really, really good ability. And then Forge Fire, +10% armor piercing. Not really a big deal, but it's okay. I mean, it's nice to have. Strike the Runes, which means your cooldown so your runes goes faster. And then, of course, Master Rune of Oath and Steel, which is +60 armor. So he's just a solid all-arounder. And he's also very inexpensive at 6,800. Now, if we go to up here, Ungram's army is all about the Slayers. And when I first put this army together, I didn't want any artillery. I wanted to imagine them being a very quiet, silent type of army, you know, moving incredibly quickly. That's why they have the Bugman's Rangers, the Rangers of Rordak. These are the Bugman's Rangers. They have regeneration. I have 2 Rangers that have the great weapons, and then we have 10 Slayers. And I put in one of each of the hero types, a Master Engineer, a Thane, and a Runesmith, so they could put their various buffs and use different weapons. And of course we have Ungram Iron Fist. Now, I think around episode 50 we had an absolutely massive battle with this very army, much lower level, mind you. We didn't have all our legendary equipment and everything else like that, and we fought 3 stacks of the undead, and we lost. Everyone died. Everyone fulfilled their Slayer Oath. I guess our heroes kind of limped away, and we had a few Rangers, but the Rangers with regeneration performed extremely well. Like, they were very, very good in that battle. You know, and it's just a really kind of a fun army, because most Dwarf players will have artillery. This army has no artillery. So it is just straight up grab your army, point it at the other army, and go fight. Which is really fun, I think, thematic for Ungram. And it's fun because, you know, I've put Ungram, I've given him, you know, obviously things like Grimnir's Heirs to buff up his Slayers, and, you know, the Slayer King to give +10 melee attack to the Slayer units in his army, and Stand Your Ground to give +27 melee defense. And I've foregone the blue tree pretty much completely just so I could get more in the Ungram's tree. Now, unfortunately, this line came out with the recent update. It wasn't there when I started, so I only got Extremely Daring Deathblow. And the reason I got Deathblow, so which is +15% armor piercing and +15% weapon damage if your hit points are below 20%. And I could have got Determined Deathblow, which is when your hit points go below 50%, you get another +16% armor piercing and +24% armor piercing. But I went for Extremely Daring Deathblow, because in that big battle where we fought the 3 stacks of undead, Ungram was at 300 hit points for felt like forever. Had he had this proccing, getting that extra damage and the extra physical resistance of 30%, like you get 44% extra weapon damage, 36% armor piercing damage, and +30% physical resistance, he might have won. So I thought, you know, this army's all about going all in, you know, jumping out of a plane without a parachute type of thing. So we'll try and get him in a situation where we can proc Extremely Daring Deathblow again. The things I didn't get are these ones here, like Great Green Nemesis. Not that it would be have been terribly useful, but the Unliving Antagonist would have been great. Weapon Strength plus 15 when fighting against Vampire Counts, and Ruinous Rival when fighting against Chaos and Norska. But I would have loved to get Doomseekers. Casualty Replenish rate plus 30% for Ungram and the Lord's Army. Wound recovery time -2. A really fantastic skill. But anyways, we weren't able to get it because we were already at rank, I think, 38 by the time this came out. But that's Ungram's Army. Very thematic, very fitting for Ungram Iron Fist. Now we'll go to Thorgrim. Now, Thorgrim is, I mean, I've played game 1, I don't even know how many times, and I only play Thorgrim. You know, it's funny, this is my first playthrough with Grombrindle. I've never played Ungram, never played Belegar. Belegar actually came out, I was away from the game for over a year, and Belegar came out after I had not played for a while. And so Thorgrim is, I know Thorgrim inside and out. I've played with him a lot, and this is his kind of thematic army. Longbeards, of course. We have 2 Longbeards with great weapons. They both have the Razor Standard for plus 10 armor piercing damage. Ungram himself has magic resistance of 25%. He has all 4 bits of his legendary armor. We have 2 Slayers in his army, and that's because during his quest battles, you have to get 2 Slayers in your army, and 2 Gyrocopters, because during his quest battles, you have to put 2 Gyrocopters in his army to trigger a battle, and of course 2 Quarrelers, and finally 4 Grudge Throwers to throw grudges. And this has been a fun army to play. I mean, we have a few named bits of our army, like all of our Grudge Throwers. Some of them, I mean, this Grudge Thrower is called the Real Beast. We had a fight against the Beastmen where we killed almost 700 Beastmen with this Grudge Thrower, so we renamed it to the Real Beast. We have Old Deadeye, and if you play at all, you know they refer to Old Deadeye a lot. Old Deadeye, I'll get him. Of course, we have Grom's Peak Grudges, which helped defend Grom's Peak. Had a lot of kills up there against the Vampire Counts. And we have Chaos Horizon. And this is a battle we had where this Grudge Thrower got a lot of kills against Chaos, so we renamed it Chaos Horizon because in the horizon all Chaos saw was stones thrown from this Grudge Thrower. And we have one name for our Thunders, right? Thunders. Manfred's Doom. These Thunders soloed Manfred von Karstein in a battle. Killed him to death all by himself, which is great. So that's Thorgrim's army. Now, Grombrindle's army. I have 4 organ guns. One Slayer. I kind of have a little bit of everything, but the intention of this army was to make it pretty much one of the most expensive armies because he has a big reduction in cost, which is upkeep to his army of minus 20%. I mean, if you look at this army, it's 12,400, and it's a pretty high tier army. Thorgrim's army is only worth 8,400. Remember, our cheapest army was 6,400, and it's kind of a mid-tier army. Grombrindle's 12,400, and what was Ungram's? 10,500 with all the Slayers. So this was meant to be kind of one of our most expensive armies with our most expensive artillery, or some, well, not most expensive, but they're 545 per turn. These organ guns are really fun, and I want one of each of the gyrocopters. So we have Grombrindle's Air Corps, one of each of the Iron Drakes, a Slayer, Hammers, and of course Iron Breakers. Just for a fun, very expensive army, and it's been pretty effective so far. Now over here we have Thrummed. His army's worth 13,000. Yeah, so 13,000. Yeah, Grombrindle's is 12,455 because he has that 20% reduction. Thrund's is 13,000. His army is basically themed obviously on hammers. And we've got fundamentally one group of Slayers, and this group of Slayers is meant to stay with the cannons. You see we've renamed one cannon Krokgar's Eye. We had a big battle with Krokgar, and this cannon got the most kills, so they got honored with the name. And we've gone into this army, obviously. We got this Lord Thrund Holdfast. He was the Lord for Karak Zorn. So he already had Axelord and Ancestral Grudge. I mean, I got him, so they were like at rank 12, and he had stuff ranked up the way I didn't want it. But he's got Grimnir's Heirs, and you know, +8 melee attack and melee defense for your hammers. And I may end up getting Thunder for the missile damage for cannons. But his army's just meant to be, you know, good cannons and lots of melee. And the hammers are the very best armor-piercing infantry the dwarves have to offer, and I thought I would put one Thunder with our Slayers and our cannons. So our Slayers are for protection, and just to buff up our cannons, and 2 Runesmiths to buff up each side of our line of hammers, and then of course we have Thrummed Holdfast, which is the leader of that army. Now over here we have our only lore army, and this is a lore army for Belegar Ironhammer from the End Times. So each of these characters is in a lore army. In the End Times we have Belegar himself, we have Beauregard Belegar, son his boy, a Thane, we have Durgan Ventrifer, the Master Engineer, and these are his cannons, the cannons of Ventrifer and Ventrifer's Grudge Thrower, so he manages them. We have Nor's Axes. This is Nor Grimbling's Ironbreakers, but they're referred to as Nor's Axes in the lore army. And we have the Angren Ironbreakers. So there's Clan Angren specific troops, like we have the Angren Ironbreakers and we have the Angren Longbeards in this army. And we have one group of Dwarf Warriors, so that's the Clan Hodak Warriors, and they come with the Clan Hodak Thunders. We have the Brotherhood of Iron, so we have 3 hammers, and we have the Fury of the Forge, a flamethrowing unit. We've had this unit from the very beginning of the game. It used to be in Grombrindal's army, now it's with them. And finally we have the Clan Zorak Blueheads. So this is an End Times lore army. I got it's referred to in the comments to a great website. It's in French, but there's lots of other armies on there too, and great stories too. All right. We have, I think this is our last army, and this one, I'm just retooling this army for Cazador Dragonslayer. So I wanted an army that was all about the flamethrowers and the flame cannons. So each of these, and this is Cazador Dragonslayer, his boys Deldrick Dragonslayer and Griswold Dragonslayer. We got him from Karak Azul when we confederated with Karak Azul, so he's not perfectly leveled up the way I want him. I mean, he's you know, Axe Lord, which I don't need, and stuff like that. But the thing that's missing from his army is all of my Ironbreakers. I'm going to have 7 Ironbreakers. I just came here to recruit a higher level of Ironbreaker, and I'm just waiting for 2 more turns until Iron Veterans is done, so I get unit experience +2 for Ironbreakers, so I will be able to recruit rank 8 Ironbreakers into this army. So we're in the middle of recruiting. It's a very expensive army, but it's incredibly fun because all these heroes have 55% fire resistance, so they can go out front and fight, and these Iron Drakes can just go to town. The flame cannons, we have the Orc Toaster, I thought we had a Skaven Toaster in here. I can't remember. Anyways, that's that army, and I think that is it. So we do have 2 more themed armies on the way coming from the comments. The only other themed army I'm thinking I would like to get in before the end of the campaign is I wouldn't mind getting an all-hero army just to see how they fought. I mean, I don't know what would happen. So that's kind of the plan. And those are my armies, and I believe I went through them all. Hopefully I didn't miss any. If I missed any, they'd be down here. But I think I got everyone. And that's all the armies we got. I think that's 10 armies, something like that. Now we do have an army recruiting here. Now this Cobalt Groby Nutter, it's just to help defend. It's a temporary army because we have 2 stacks of oh man, those Croxagors. Oh man. We got 3 in there and 8 in there. Jiminy crickets. Okay, so that's it for my armies, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and do my buildings. So we'll just get going. I'm going to go through, as always, I'll go through, well, we're getting pretty good on our income right now, so I probably can do income and growth and any engineers workshops that we can get, because right now I think our research rate is 466. I mean, normally this takes 3 turns and 4 turns. This is down to 1 turn. You know, stuff up here that's down to 2 turns normally takes like 9 turns. It's crazy. We're doing really good on that research, so we'll just go through and do our buildings first. Numus, don't need to worry about the walls. I would like the growth, so we're gonna get that. Averland, Everheim, let's get those walls in place. How long do I have? I have a rank 2. I'm gonna leave them. I do want to focus on that, but I want my growth if I can get it. I don't need the walls in Cazador actually, but there's nothing else I need to build there. Let's Cazador. Let's actually get rid of those walls, and I'll put in an engineer's workshop there. Okay, Charnel Valley, Karakorand, don't need walls for that, so let's get rid of them. We'll get the growth going, and we'll probably put a trinket maker in there, I guess. +4. I guess we're in growth, so we'll leave it in there. Coast of Araby. Let's get them into growth. Crater of the Walking Dead. I guess we put in a trading depot for them, and they're in growth. They're at -7 though, which I don't much like. Maybe we put in a refectory. Yeah, let's get that done. We'll put in a refectory there. That's probably why I took that, whatever was in there, out. Devil's Backbone certainly does not need walls, but is there anything else that can go in there? I guess I can start the armory, but when all's said and done, I get to the next level and unlock that, I put the armory, and that's everything. So I'll leave those walls in Lamia. No reason to get rid of them, and no reason to upgrade them until I have a lot of extra income. So Eastern Sylvania. Income. Let's go to Castle Drakenhof. We have walls. I suppose we start the armory. Yeah, let's get that armory started, because we're building that. It'll take 5 turns, another 4 turns, and then 5 turns. So we'll get the armory started, and that once we get it up to rank 5, we get another runesmith and +1 global recruitment capacity, and +1 a +4 hero recruit rank for runesmith. So we'll get that on the go. Devil's Backbone, Estalia. Don't have to worry about building that up just yet. Gromandy Mountains. Perfect. So this iron smelter, if you look on the left, it's going to go from rank 2 to rank 3. It gives -3% upkeep to dwarf warriors, longbeard slayers, and miners. So it's awesome. Very worthwhile getting. And we still have it on Venerate the Ancestors for reducing that chaos corruption. We're all the way up to 87% untainted, which is really good. Population surplus in 4 turns. Okay, so we'll keep that moving along. Great Desert of Araby. We can probably get rid of one of these. Pools of Despair. Alcabad. I guess let's just go and look if it matters. Oh, Alcabad has cinnabar mining. So Pools of Despair. Yeah, let's just go and get rid of this in Alcabad. We don't need it. And we'll replace that with a cinnabar mine. Yeah, to get that resource of dyes. Okay. Pools of Despair. We could build that up. I don't think there's any need to do that right now. Kingdom of Beasts. Trinket maker. Okay, land of assassins, or land of the dead. Armory. Don't really need to build those walls up, but I kind of wanna. It's got a gold mine. I mean, this is a pretty critical spot for us, so I'll just be a little bit cautious on that. Now, I don't think Mousselon is going to make it. Leonese has got 2 turns, so I can go in there and, you know, maybe I put in some growth. You know, maybe some income. Kind of get that moving. But Mousselon I'm not going to build up for now. Because I don't believe I'm going to be able to hold on to it. I've got these armies all over the damn place. Okay. Let's keep moving. Devil's Backbone, Kingdom, Beast, Leonese, Northern World, such mountains. 8 turns until a surplus, so I'm not going to build this up. Not going to bother with the walls just yet. I will want to put those walls in because that is on my front line. Paravon, okay. So let's go ahead and, what is this? Marble. Let's get the walls up in Paravon. Growth. So hopefully those walls get done. 3 turns. Peak Pass. Karakadrin. 8 turns until a surplus. Don't need the walls in there right now. Rib Peaks. Sure, I don't need those walls yet. I'll leave it. Shifting Sands. Income. Trinket Maker. And growth. I think I can go to growth here as well. And +6 on my public order, which is really good. So we'll go to Skavenblight. They're on growth. That's kind of near my front lines. I do want to keep Skavenblight, so we'll put those walls up. Just because it's a cool thing to have. Bronte Mingle. We'll get it moving. Galbaraz. I don't need to put the walls up right away there. And we'll go to Southlands. Income, it is. And they're in growth, good. Stirland. Work bad, let's just go and take a look. So they're going to rank 5. Yeah, let's get the Engineers Workshop going for them. And they're in taxes, good. Stirland. And Talcian. Income it is. We're in growth there. Am I in growth everywhere in here? Kingsglade, the Oak of Ages, Balls Anvil, City Halls, Waterfall Palace. Okay, I'm in growth everywhere. We'll go to the vaults. We'll get that growth going. Well, we only have 1 turn until a surplus, so we will actually destroy our growth buildings. So we do not need them anymore. Next turn, we will change to taxes. Okay, where was that? On right, Western Badlands. Yep, we'll keep that Gromrill's Forge going so we can get our next level of Master Engineer. Sufbar. Let's go to the Wastelands. Fortress of the Damned. I guess we put in, man, oh man. I'll get the growth going there. Just so that we can get to rank 3 in both of these as quick as we can. Okay, Carcassonne, we've done that. Headhunter's Jungle. Oh, exotic animal market done. And you know, that's pretty much it. Guess we can go back to Arguelon, Charnel Valley, Coast of Araby. Yeah, okay, we'll save our gold for next turn. And I'll take a look at our diplomacy. Ripperhorn tribe. Strength rank, Hexawatl still 1. That's just going to start changing. We're 3. Lothern is 2. They got 63 settlements. Empire is 4 with 59. And then like distant fifth is Naggarond with 8 settlements. Bretonnia with 3. Wood Elves have 2. And Ripperhorn is the last. So there's only 8 factions left in the game. And Ripperhorn is number 8, and that's a single army. So really it's a 4-way race right now. It's us, Hexawatl, Lothern, and the Empire. And Naggarond is not long for this world, really. And we're trading with Lothern and the Empire. And, yep, so it's really, if you look, so the Empire is fighting against Lothern and Hexawatl. And, Bretonnia and Naggarond and the Wood Elves, and that's who we're fighting. Bretonnia, Naggarond, Wood Elves, and Hexawatl. We're not fighting Lothern yet. We will, but I want to make use of that trade income for as long as possible. Our trade income's down to 20,000, so it's 10,000 gold per turn. I will definitely make a difference in an impact fighting Hexawatl. We've demolished Talea down here for the Empire. We absolutely blitzed through the Wood Elves here for the Empire, and we've taken a little bit of a bite out of Bretonnia here for the Empire, so I don't feel bad about maintaining my trade agreement with Lothern for a little longer, as long as I can. That's just 10,000 free gold per turn. I'm going to maintain it. So that's the episode. Again, no fights in this episode. We'll start the next episode getting ready for fights and actually doing our turn. I just didn't want anyone who's not really interested in this kind of detailed stuff or review of armies or going through settlements or these types of things, so they just, hear it up front and they can skip the episode and go on if they're interested in looking at the fights. So I will see you on the next episode of our Mortal Empires Legendary Dwarf Campaign walkthrough. Have a good one.